You're sending your child to school for 3 to 4 hours every day, hoping that they learn some skills and social interaction. But your child's teacher is constantly complaining, your child's not sitting in their place, they're moving around, or they're not following directions, they're not listening. Then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Priankaevangeline, your internet speech language pathologist, and today we are going to discuss why some autistic children are not able to sit inside the classroom, understand really deeply what is going on that prevents them from sitting, paying attention and learning, and what you can do to support them. Please remember, dear parents and therapists, we always have to start from why a behavior is happening. I know you are seeing it from the outside, the behavior looks different, it's not conducive to the learning. So you want to change the behavior, you want to stop it, you want to make them look normal. But we have to, when we are dealing with the differently wired, different working mind, we have to think why that behavior is happening. We have to work from the foundation, ground up. Why something is happening, understand, and then support and then help the behavior. Imagine this, you're sitting in a classroom, the lights are flickering, the fan is making a whirring sound, 30 kids around you are moving the desk and chair and bag and books and talking, murmuring, and then on top of that the teacher is saying something. To a neurotypical mind, this is very easy to pay attention in this scenario, but to a neurodivergent mind where the sensory wiring is different, they are sensing the world differently. To them, this is too much stimulation. One of the reasons that an autistic child can struggle within the classroom is being hypersensitive to stimulation, especially auditory, visual and tactile stimulation at the class. One of the kids I was working with, the mom was allowed inside the classroom to observe when this disruption happened. And mom observed that when the other kids start chanting like ABCs or numbers or names, that was difficult for our autistic child and he started crying and shouting and moving that time. So we can see a clear trigger. There are certain triggers in the classroom here, but there are some triggers that are very mild and subtle, like it could just be the flickering light that is too hard, or it could be the sleeves, the collar of the shirt that is rough and rubbing on them and they're not able to pay attention because of that. It might seem to you like it's a very simple small thing, but remember, underlying autism is a sensory processing difference. So the way an autistic child senses the environment is different, and that can be very hypersensitive or hypersensitive. Because of that, there can be a sensory difficulty with being in the classroom. If it is sensory, you have to do one of the most important things, which is observe your child. Because typical classroom teachers are not equipped with the knowledge and the understanding to know where this breakdown happens, which part of the classroom life is affecting the child. You need a trained eye to observe. It could be a special educator or an occupational therapist available in the school, or you can ask permission to observe your child in the classroom if they allow it. Most schools don't, but if you're lucky enough that your child's school allows you, that's great. Observe when this behavior happens. What happens immediately before they start moving? They get up from their spot or they make a sound. Before that, what is that thing that's happening? Note it down. See if a trend emerges. Now, it is very difficult to maintain ambient noise or very soft sound inside a classroom because there's going to be so many kids. So what we can do is give them some accommodations, like we know this environment is hard for you and I know you're trying to pay attention, but we cannot control everybody around us. So let's see if we can do something for you that helps you stay in the classroom. So this could be like attaching a band on your child's chair on the legs so that they can press on it while they sit. So the movement helps them regulate. Or it could be like a quiet corner in the classroom where there is some divider, there's an exercise ball, or there is some fidget toys available that your child can go play with it, sit quietly for a while and then come back inside the main area. Observe if your child has a sensory hypersensitivity, so they are responding very intensely to all the auditory, visual and tactile stimuli in the classroom. If yes, then provide your child with other movement accommodations, or they can have a quiet corner in the classroom, or they can ask for a break to go out for 5 minutes and then come back inside. The second reason I'm seeing with many of my neurodivergent kids is that sitting is hard for them. Because when you're sitting, I think it's because their mind is loud. Like their mind is able to sense every single thing in the environment, and that makes it very hard for them to focus on one input, that is the teacher's voice or the task at hand. So I have had children who cannot answer a question when they are sitting down. But if I ask the same question when they're moving, they give me the right answer. Movement is essential for the baseline. Some people study better when they move. Like I have a cousin who reads books while walking up and down the home. But I can't do it. I get motion sickness, but that doesn't mean that I'm wrong or she's wrong. It just means each mind has a different baseline. And for some people, the baseline is movement. That's the thing about life, life is movement. When we don't move, we are stagnant and, it's like we are withering away. But I'm not going to get philosophical. I mean that for many people, the baseline is movement and they need movement to stay calm and to stay regulated. If there is no movement, that is when dysregulation comes up. If your child loves to move and there's somebody who's always on the move, then asking them to sit inside the classroom for hours together is a big, a punishment for them. This is where, as a parent, your help comes in terms of advocacy. Meaning that once you understand that your child is someone who needs to move, then you will have to advocate for your child's needs in the school. The mainstream school, they might all not be very understanding of neurodivergent kids, and many teachers may not have that experience. They've only probably seen neurotypical kids all their life. So you have to take the step to ask for a meeting with them, to show them videos of your child where they are at home performing different tasks and how they are answering, and explain to them what is breaking down in the classroom and where they can support. Asking for your child's movement breaks. So every 15 minutes, ask for a movement break. And this is something even I do as a part of my parent coaching. And for the kids here is request your speech therapist or your occupational therapist to have a meeting with the school. So you will have to arrange it with both of them. Even a small meeting to discuss the things about your child's needs and their profile, sensory profile, and what type of support will help in the classroom. A quick meeting will be very helpful. The therapist can share strategies over an email or a message or a phone call. This type of cooperation between your child specialist and the teacher is very important. Third trigger for movement is usually a state of confusion where the child feels they don't know what to do in the situation, or it could be a cognitive difficulty, meaning the task at hand is a bit too hard and the child feels I'm not able to do this properly, so I need to move. Most of the time, there is a executive functioning difficulty in many autistic children, meaning that the ability to plan, organize, problem solve certain tasks could be hard. One of the most important skill in executive functioning is working memory, and this is something that's very much applied in classroom. For example, if the teacher says, everyone come back to your seat, take your English notebook, open the second lesson. Now this particular instruction is 3-step, and child has to remember coming back to seat, taking the particular English book and not other books, and opening this particular page. This is a multi-step instruction which requires a child to hold on to that language for 1 minute until they complete the task. Now this can be sometimes hard. That's why it is very important to work with your speech therapist, especially on working memory and other executive functioning skills like problem solving, reasoning, inferencing, planning, organizing. But work on the underlying skills so that you make the cognitive load or the effort required to sit in class easier, that they feel like I can do this, I can participate in class, I have all the skills. Most of the times we work on the overt speech and language skills, like how many words they're saying, how much sentences they are making, and are they able to have conversation with other people. Like these are all outside skills. But for the outside skills to come up, there needs to be underlying skills like the ability to visualize, imagine, pretend. This is one of the basic abilities. Second is all the executive functioning skills I told you about. And one important executive functioning skill is working memory, which is also one of the underlying skills that we most often miss. But this is also very important to work on if you want those surface level skills to increase. Now another thing that can happen along with moving away from their place is stimming. They're making some verbal stims, or they're moving their body in repetitive motions. This is a whole other topic by itself, stimming. I've already made a video on that, but if you want me to make an updated recent video on that, comment stim and I will make it. But something that you really need to understand for today is that most often stimming is regulational, meaning that children stim either when they are very emotionally stimulated or when they are trying to bring their body back into calm baseline state. So something has triggered them and they want to come back to the baseline, they want to feel better. That's why most often autistic children stim. So you have to understand, are they getting agitated in the classroom? Is there something that is creating a sense of anxiousness or worry in your child that can trigger them to stim? Are they very excited? Many children stim when they are very happy. Even though it's okay to do it, but you can teach them a better way to show your happiness so that you don't disrupt other people. Give your child alternatives to stim. So this could be like giving them some type of fidget toy in hand that they can move, which doesn't make a lot of sound, or giving them noise cancelling headphones or headphones with some type of music available in the classroom so your child can listen and come back. These types of accommodations, when I'm talking about it, it may seem like, oh, it's so new, I don't know if my child's school is going to accept all this, but you have to understand that these are so basic and important. It's not something that the school has to try so hard and fight for it and give you. It's so simple, because each autistic child deserves to be in a classroom. They deserve to be in a social situation that includes them. And if that means that they have a little accommodations, what is so hard about that? Fight for your child with the school and ask for these accommodations. Give them a break, give them music, give them space to run around and come back. Give them time, give them processing time. If you ask something, don't immediately expect my child to do. Try to understand them. If they are moving, you ask the teacher to say, oh, I need a break, and then allow them to move and come back in 2 to 3 minutes. For many autistic children, movement is not them being naughty, but it's them trying to be in that environment, trying to adjust with the stimulation and the sensory differences and their body needs while still being inside the classroom. So as long as your child is in the classroom but they're still stimming, understand that they are trying and they need to be supported. Not shamed, not told, be quiet, sit still, stay still, listen, don't move. That is not going to help them. Remember, when your child moves from their place or they do these behaviors in classroom, it is not misbehaving. It is your child communicating a need, an underlying need that they're not able to tell you yet. Maybe their body learns through movement. With the right classroom support, your child can learn, they can participate, they can be in the classroom.